What's up, YouTube? This is Michael from Karate Breakdown. Today I want to talk about the one thing that all combat and martial arts boils down to. You see it in gaming, you see it in sports, you see it in psychology, you see it in everything dealing with human interaction. And you see it in sports because sports essentially is a simulation of war, right? If you watch American football, you see the coaches that are on the sideline giving plays.
Why Mo to bunch left, Al Pacino?
The coaches that are on top of the booth looking down at the battlefield or the football field, making corrections and making audibles, trying to read the opponents and make the right call. You see this in video games as well. And you're in a team situation and you make the right call to either go left or go right, or you make the right call to go to bomb side A versus bomb side B. You see this all the time, and especially in individual situations like combative sports.
The fight clock is brought to you by Modelo.
What I'm talking about today is actually pattern recognition. And I say everything boils down to that because the faster you recognize your opponent's patterns, the easier you can kind of predict what they're going to do, and also the quicker you can execute your own strategy. And this makes a good case for people who are coaches and good analyzers. You actually don't need to be like a great competitor or a great athlete to recognize patterns. As you guys know, I'm a secondary black belt in BJJ. I've been teaching for the last 10 plus years. And in that close range, when you are in the clinch range or you're on the ground, when a lot of your body's connected to your opponent's body, you can start predicting and feeling what they're going to do and start reading their patterns. It's why it's very important to mix it up and train with different people all the time, because as you train with the same person over and over again, you start seeing their tells and they get really predictable. And then you start to repeat the same things because you know what's going to happen. And going back to that coach thing, right? A good coach is able to recognize the opponent's patterns and give the right command to the fighter in the ring. This brings up another topic, right? Because like a fighter, a combat sport fighter, first and foremost, should be a really good athlete. And that differentiates them from a martial artist. The only examples that I can see that are true martial artists or people who don't really need a coach would be like Israel Adesanya in his prime.
Went in there again, caught that right hook counter again by Adesanya. He landed it over and over again.
McGregor in his prime.
I was still asleep and he came into the room and woke me up and says, "Hey Connor, it looks like Jose's out. It's going to be Mendes." I opened one eye. I said, "They are all the same." I closed my eyes. I went back to sleep, and that was that. It makes no difference.
10 seconds. Could he finish him here?
And I give these two examples because they really don't need to hear their corners' advice or opinions. They really have a good understanding of their own techniques, their own physicality, and also being able to read the opponent. And this is kind of what people would call fighters IQ. If you have a good fight IQ, you're able to read the situation and change and adapt to it. Whereas you see other people, and these are like amazing champions, it looks like their coach is just playing a video game and the fighter themselves are just a character in the game.
На голову правую ногу надо поставить. Правую ногу на голову. Да. Осторожно. Не спеши, осторожно.
They're amazing listeners. They're able to hear their coach's voice through all that commotion, through all the cheering, through all the noise. That's a skill in itself, but that tells you that the fighter is not making all the calls. Of course, they're the one that makes the KO. They're the ones that are reacting in the ring. But if you think about it, the fighter foremost in a combat sport needs to be a perfect athlete. They can't gas out. They have to listen. They can't get emotional. All these mental and physical attributes, they have to be locked down. They have to be perfected so that you can make the right calls in the ring without being tired, right? So if you guys ever did any heavy sparring or you guys ever done any rolling, the biggest thing that I noticed with white belts is like they start breathing heavily. They're super anxious. That fight or flight starts kicking in. And because of that, like any logic, any type of technique that they learn 10 minutes prior goes out the window because they're so worried about other things. They're worried about not hyperventilating. They're worried about not getting submitted. They're worried about all these things. As they should, that's a very human reaction. If you think about that as like basic survival instincts and you're expecting them to have some type of pattern recognition and have some strategy built on top of that, that's completely impossible. So you have to have some type of physical coordination competency before you even think about higher level strategies. That's before you can even start noticing and recognizing patterns for your opponent. And it's very interesting psychology, right? The pattern recognition. Because if you guys think about chess, if you guys think about any other strategy game, you're trying to impose your strategy over somebody else's strategy. And that'll kind of lead me to the conclusion of this. It's like the only way you as a martial artist can become an athlete fighter is to play and to have the ability and the chance and the option to recognize patterns over and over again so that they become automatic and instinctual. And you know, with this channel, it's about elevating karate. It's about elevating practical karate. So creating an environment for students to have the chance to even develop that pattern recognition is huge. And some things I'll leave with you on this video is like, what does that mean for a white belt, or what does it mean for a student? It means like, don't get into every sparring situation and consider it as like a fight to the death. No one's going to learn that way. Yes, you're going to get good at taking a punch to the face. You're going to face some fears in that sense, but you're not getting technical, right? You're not getting a mastery of the art. Yes, there's times where you need to train and spar hard, but those should be few and far between actual learning and actual technique and actual flow rolling or actual play sparring, playing tag, allowing the opponent to work, stuff like that. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. This is kind of like a rambling. If you guys are new to this channel, I talk about making karate practical. I look at karate philosophy. I look at martial arts, and I do a lot of technical breakdowns as well. So if you haven't subscribed yet, feel free. I make videos weekly, and catch you on the next one. Train hard, fight easy.